Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy Tyler. Welcome to another episode of Draw and Talk, where we talk about making comics and indie comics. And today we have an awesome guest. Her name is Martha Schwartz. We're going to be talking about her Kickstarter, as well as the topic of why it's important for you to start small as an indie creator. Real quick things. Both of our Kickstarters are on Kickstarter. Both of our books are on Kickstarters right now. They're both funded, but you know what? We'd always love the extra help, and I'm going to be putting the links in the chats, so hit that up, and also in the link in the description. Also, if you haven't yet today, go onto my YouTube channel and check out the video I just did. It's called The 3 Sacrifices That I Think Every Comic Book Writer and Artist will have to make in their career at some point. And let me know what you think about that, because I think I really hit on some interesting topics. But Martha, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks. Thank you.
So Martha, tell us real quick about your book, Seed Seekers.
Okay.
Tell us about it, and while you talk about it, I'm going to quickly screen share so that everyone can see it. So tell us about it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a small book. I started a long time ago, probably about 3 years ago. I had a friend in California who helped me concept and create the story idea, but she became like so busy with life, that happened. So she kind of dropped to the side. But I include her name. But basically, it's a story about, it's a fantasy Japanese manga, because I know how popular that is, and it's trying to relate the comics that is popular and not popular, but we it's relatable. Basically, the story is relatable. The characters are trying to find themselves, and when they discover their savior, their long lost savior, who carries the seed. He helps try to help create their environment because it's dying, and they find and discover him, and he comes and helps them out. And it's basically a learning tool. Like, they learn from each other and stuff like that. You got your typical bad guys. You got your typical good guy kind of scenario. But in the long run, what I basically want to try to say is that not everybody's a bad guy. Not everybody's a good guy. You'll be surprised along the way as you read the stories throughout. This is volume 3. So, like in the first volume, I had the introduction of the characters, where you meet each one and how they relate to the story and how they learn from each story. Volume 2, you kind of get a back history of why the world became the way it was. And this volume, you're going to meet new characters and how the world is shaping. So basically what it is that how the story is developing and how strong they learn from each other and how the world grows. So that's basically the typical gist of the whole thing. So it's like starting a seed and watching it grow.
So with each volume, how many pages are in each volume, Martha?
Typically it's usually about 25 pages. Each one's small. I might go graphic novel later, but right now I'm starting with small comics. So right now I have one in my hand. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, nice. And are you doing all the art traditionally, or like is it digital? How are you doing the art?
I start off traditional. I use the pages, the big pages. I'm in my art room, so I got some of them now, but well, I don't have. Oh yeah, I started off like typical storyboard
nice.
kind of thing. Well, I do the storyboard, but I create the story from start to finish. I write out the story. I come up with storyboards, and then I do the pencils, then the inks, then I scan them into the. So I do everything. Scan them into the computer.
How are you scanning them? Do you have a scanner that is that size, 11 by 17?
No.
Okay, so you have to go to a place to scan it.
Well, I take it to my little small scanner. I do the one side, flip it around.
Okay, how's that work for you?
Yeah, in Photoshop, you just flip it and they match. Not perfect. But whenever you try to clean it up in Photoshop, you make it a little smoother. So,
Gotcha. So, everyone check out Seed Seekers. This is volume 3. But the nice thing with her Kickstarter, which she did, which was really smart, is that there are rewards that you can get each volume, so that if you want to try it out, you can catch up with the series. And that's something that I'm going to implement with my next crowdfund for those who can't hop on to Demons Volume 1. So that's and I actually got that idea after looking at Martha's Seed Seeker, which I will be backing, Martha, by probably like the second to last day of your thing. I'm gonna don't worry. Right, real quick, I want to say hi to those who are watching. We have Justin and Ori in the chat. Justin, Ori, and we got Britton. What's up, guys? And also, if you are also watching, please hit us up in the chat. Ask Martha any questions. She's open to answering questions. And yeah, today we want to talk about why starting small is a good thing when it comes to being an indie creator. Martha, was Martha's Kickstarter. Only had a goal of $500, which she was able to fund. Now she's just getting extra. She's just getting extra. Martha, what was the reasoning for you having such a small goal on Kickstarter, whereas you see these Kickstarters that are like 15,000, 30,000 goals? What was your mentality with having such a small goal at $500?
Yeah, the reason why I start off with a small goal is because basically I'm just trying to fund the comic of getting it printed. My main goal is to get the printing, but the supplies are covered. I'm the artist, the creator, designer. If I had more other people included and or involved, I would have probably tacked on a little bit more money, just to pay, because I'm going to pay the people who work for me kind of deal. But right now, since I'm doing it all, I'm a one-man band kind of thing. I just start off with a small goal, but it's just basically for the printing cost, the advertising, the web design, so stuff like that, just to help,
But it's good to get that money so that you can, make this comic and then start distributing it. Have you heard of, by the way, Alterna's Alterna Comics, their up and coming printing distribution deal that they're going to be giving to indie creators? Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't.
They're going to be making comics that they're already doing. Alterna's already doing it, but they're going to give opportunity to other creators. And in the chat, guys, let me know what you guys think of this idea, because I'm planning on doing it with another comic in the future. But the interiors are newsprint feel, like the old school comics. And basically, their deal is, from what I understood, if you pay them for a full colored comic, that's 24 pages. If you get them $800, they'll give you 2,000 copies.
Oh, wow!
That's a lot of books that you can then, at that point, if your Kickstarter funded the printing, you could just start handing that out to people, and that could be 2,000 new fans who will maybe come and pay for the second issue. I don't know. What do you think about that, Martha?
That's a good idea. I really like that, because right now I do, and I'm sure everybody else do. But right now I do the Kablam, because kind of thing, and they're good. But it's like Have
you heard of Comics Wellspring?
Sorry.
Have you heard of Comics Wellspring?
No.
I've used Kablam before, and they're really good quality. But Comics Wellspring, it's cheaper than Kablam per copy.
Oh wow.
So maybe check that out. I've only printed one comic with them. You have to print off a minimum of 25.
Right.
But it's a really good price. And then I don't know, you've probably seen Kraken Print.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, they're everywhere on social media right now.
Right.
But yeah,
they're good printing company.
Yeah, I haven't printed with anything with them yet. Maybe I will. But they seem like they're really going for the indie creators. So what are you doing, Martha? We're kind of in the same area where we're trying to build our fan base, and we're starting off small, and we're not acting like we're not acting like we have this huge fan base. We're not acting like we're not doing this huge big production books that are 40 issues. We're starting small. You're putting out your third issue. What are you doing to build your fan base, do you think, besides just making the comic?
I'm trying to I want to gear more toward trying to also publish comics to where, or that's why I'm also asking for a little bit of money too, because I want to print comics, and that what you talked about was a good idea too, because if I can print more, that's even better. Because I want to get it free advertising and sending it out to other people's hands, so giving the free comics out to have them look at it. But right now, mainly I'm just doing I have a website. You can download some of the comics for free. Some of the extras that I put in some of the books already, you can see there. But that's a start. I talk a lot on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm hoping to even start my own YouTube channel just to basically try to go over it. And I'm hoping, I want to try to do animation too, because I love animating. I just don't have the time because I'm like literally doing everything between the comics and the work. So
Yeah.
just
Well,
a lot.
I think every creator should find a way to build. I don't like this angle. Should should to build their fan base somehow, and social media is the best way to do it. And I think for all like indie creators, the best way to do it is by, I don't know if you've heard the 80-20 rule in marketing, but 80% of the time you bring value to your customer, and then 20% of the time you then talk about your product. And it's because if you're always taught, I see a lot of creators who are 100% look at my comic, look at my comic, look at my comic, look at my comic. And at the end of the day, it's like, for me personally, it's, I don't find you any value off of you. And I don't know why I should like give you my money to buy your comic.
Right.
And that's kind of like why, I think, you starting a YouTube channel is a really smart idea, because that's just another way to build your audience as well. Especially if you're doing the 80-20 rule, you're not just talking about your comic, but maybe, bringing on other indie creators. One thing that's why I try to do this channel. I don't really talk about my own comic book very much on this channel, but I try to bring on a bunch of other creators, do that 80, and then I'll slip in my book every now and then.
Good. Yes, exactly. I like, and that's what kind of hooked me with you too, because I saw you on the Facebook, and I really like that idea. And that's another thing I was going to say is that in my comic books too, I try to have a fan art section, because I know there's a lot of people that like to draw and stuff, but they don't really like to, how to do it, where do I go and stuff like that. I want to show off other people's talents. So I'm also including people too. So I'm adding that in. I got that idea actually from an old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic, because they had the fan page section of it. So I'm like, oh, why don't I try the fan page section? So
yeah, it's just, it's just good to like build a community, try to build a community, off of yourself. I think hopefully Justin let me know in the chat, but hopefully tomorrow morning we're just gonna be, I draw in the morning at like 5 a.m. That's when I have time to draw, so that I can go to work, and then I come home, I'll do one of these, and then I'll hang out with my wife the rest of the night. But at 5 a.m. tomorrow, we're just gonna draw. And we did one of these last time, and it was called a creator hangout, and we had probably like 7 other like comic book creators all in the video, and we were all just talking and having a good conversation. And surprisingly, it's getting a lot more views on my channel than what I expected. I expected to only have like maybe 10, but it's already at like around 70. And I think it's because people like that feeling of community. Yes. And they're like, oh, this community is being built. Maybe I want to be part of this community. And I think you should definitely do that, Martha. You should definitely start a YouTube channel and, start that community. We got Britton real quick. He says, he was just talking about Alterna. It's an indie company. And then Justin, yeah, I'm in as long as I don't get hung up at work. Just let me know, Justin. Just hit me up. You know what to do. And then we had Britton and Justin on the show the other day. They're part of that that group hangout. And it was just a lot of fun. And Martha, if you're ever like, if we ever do one of these creator hangouts again,
yeah, sure.
I put the link up in Indie Comic Conspiracy, and no one joined in on that from that group. I was sad.
I'll definitely try it. I mean, I had a lot of stuff going on, so as you know.
Yeah. So when do you find time to draw? Like, you have your day job. Do you do it in the morning, or do you do it at night?
I do it mainly at night. When I get home from work. Sometimes I'll do it at work too. Like I'll bring my iPad. I have the iPad Pro, so like I said, I was doing free comics. I'm doing one right now with the intro of the villains, or they're not villains, but you'll find out when you get it. But I just do it on. I love the iPad Pro, and I think that now the new iPad you can use a pencil, so I'm probably gonna get one of those too. So I'm glad that the computers have been so updated, so because I'm so ancient myself, that I'm so happy that we're becoming a modern time where I don't have to draw on pen and paper anymore. I can actually make a full comic right at work. So.
No, yeah, that's that. Yeah, and no, I work digitally.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like drawing traditionally, and this Saturday I'm going to a comic book store for an event, and I mean, I can't bring my tablet with. Well, I can't bring my tablet with me and be like, "Hey, I saved this artwork. I'll print it out for you later." So I'll be doing a lot of traditional stuff. But I really liked that page that you showed me. You showed like your lines are very clean. The Bristol board was like, what paper are you? Are you using Bristol board?
I use the Strathmore.
Okay.
Like Hobby Lobby or Michael's.
Yeah, and does that have the blue comic book lines on it?
Yep.
Hey, Justin, we were just talking about that.
I use pencils. I don't use blue pencil. I mean, I should, and everybody does, and it's faster. But I'm just so old school. I use pencil.
No, it looks good. And what pens do you use to ink?
Oh,
Micron.
I've been well. They have some at Hobby Lobby. I think they're called Pigmas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Pigmas, and I also like my favorite one. I think Tombow. I think it is. They're the smaller ones. I like using those now too. And brush pens, a lot of brush.
Yeah, brush pens are fun. So with that, so what's your goal then? What's the goal for the next Kickstarter? When you're doing a Kickstarter, are you only there just to cover the printing cost, or are you trying to grow your fan base using Kickstarter?
I think both. But because I found a lot more. I'm very happy to say that in this new Kickstarter, including you, I've found a lot more people. So I've gained more of a fan base, and I think it's also the fact that I support other people too. So like, there's Kickstarters on there, and I say, hey, I'll support your comic, and I'm not just doing it, because well, you support mine, I'll support you. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it to find and seek out more people, because I know they're just like me and they're trying to get their foot in the door. And, maybe I see a creative comic and I'm going to enjoy it. Because I tell you right now, there's nothing in the main industry that I'm really interested in anymore. I started a long time ago loving Batman and DC Comics and Marvel Comics. And then as you can see probably by my art, then I went to Archie Comics because I'm like, well, I got to have more fun. But then after a while, even Archie Comics is getting really weird, and they got that show on. I'm like, I'm not into that anymore. I want to kind of see what other people are doing, other artists are doing.
Yeah, we have Britton on the chat. He's asking you, Martha, what comics influence you right now?
Well, like I said, it was, as you can see, it was pretty much Archie Comics that started it, and I liked a lot of Japanese comics too. There's a Japanese comic book I read a long time ago called Oh My Goddess. It ended now, but the artist was brilliant, so I kind of like followed his style, and so I like a mixture of both. I like Japanese, American, and
all right. And then another question: what's on your shirt? Is that Dilbert or maybe an old Carol Burnett?
Doctor Who.
It's Doctor Who. It's Doctor Who, everyone. Have you ever thought about doing a webcomic? Have you ever thought about putting your stuff as a webcomic on like Webtoons?
Yes, that's what I'm doing now. Currently on my iPad that I'm talking to you now, I'm working on a intro of the characters that like the villains I was telling you about earlier, their backstory. So what I'm planning on doing, and that's kind of what I'm using this campaign fund for, I'm hoping to have printable comics, and then I'm hoping to have like backstory comics, which will be on Webtoons, and like this page I showed you. That this one is there's a unicorn in the story. This is introducing the Unicorn and the Wizard.
Okay, so you have your print comics, but then if you want some extra stories, you can find them digitally.
Yes, and I'm hoping to get those. Right now with this, I was
actually.
trying an experiment to like have other inkers do my work, because I want to start hiring more people to do my stuff too. You know what I'm saying? But it's up and down kind of situation right now, because I don't know. Can I afford it? Can I go there?
Well, it's one of those things where you have to like balance, like, you know, like you have the artistic ability to do it, but it would save you time and you could do more if you did hire people. Have you ever thought about working like being hired as an artist for a writer?
Yes, I'm up in the air. I'm open, and I'm here to say that I would love to draw for anybody. I like to do fan art. I'm asking you to, if you want to do it, fan art from my stuff. And the main reason is that I want to share other people's talents, and that's what I was saying earlier about the fan pages. We need to be out there. We need to help each other.
No, for sure, for sure. We have on the chat, Justin F. How I missed it was how did I miss that it was Doctor Who. We have Britton says he likes to smell his comics personally. So what? Well, maybe I'll ask you another follow-up question. Would you ever want to be hired by a writer though, to be paid to work on their book?
Oh, of course.
Have you ever put that out on like Facebook and stuff?
No, I haven't, because I never have too much confidence in myself.
No, Martha, listen to me. Listen to Tyler. Listen to Tyler. You definitely, there is a market for your art. Your art is good. I've seen it. Okay. Mm-hmm. You should absolutely put your work on, there's a Facebook group called Connecting Comic Book Writers and Artists.
Okay, yeah, I've been on it.
Yeah, you should totally post your artwork and say, "Hey, this is my art. I can pencil, ink, and color it. Here's a great page rate." And then you work on someone's book. You can take that money, and then you could either hoard that money, or you can pay an artist to pay another artist to draw. You know, that's what I was doing. Is I was doing a bunch of hired work for a bunch of writers, and while I'm doing their books and they're giving me money, I then use that money to then pay off artists that I wanted to work on my book. Everyone was confused. They're like, Tyler, how did you do 15 issues of Demons? Like, how did you fund 15 issues of an indie comic and you weren't the artist? And I'm like, I just used the money that people were paying me and I gave it to my artist. Like, they're like, how much money did you make off of your comic books that you did for people? I was like, I don't know. I gave it all to Travis Martinez and Demons. So that's just another outlet to go. And we have Justin Ori saying, hey, she's talented. Someone will hire her in a second.
Thanks.
I believe it. You definitely should think about it.
Well, I will tell you that, like, okay, I got this one I'm sure you guys saw on the pages and stuff. It only took me a day to make this page.
Did you color that with Copics?
Yeah, Copics.
Wait, so do you color all your work with Copics?
Yeah. I love this stuff.
See? Martha.
I'm fast. That's what I'm saying. I'm fast.
Martha. Linda. I don't know if you've seen that video. Martha, you put your work on the internet, okay, and then start getting paid to make art. There is a writer out there who's going to pay for you to do art. Like, I want you to do this. Even if you're like, I have a system and I've made a video on it. It's how to like survive as an indie artist. And I say, do free work, then do free work, build your portfolio, then start doing paid work. I think you've already built your portfolio enough. You're already good. And and I only say that because I did free work because my work I didn't think was very good, like at all. It's nowhere near as good as you are. And I'm still not. And
I've seen it. Good. Don't knock yourself.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, you just you have a portfolio. Start getting paid to do that, Martha. The Draw and Talk community wants you to start making money off of your art. So find a writer. I'm telling you.
But I do have a passion with my art, writing. though. I really do. I really think that this is a good story, and I think that everybody will enjoy it. So I'm hoping that people will take a look at my. I'm not very really great at grammar. I've had people edit and proofread it, but I think everybody will be surprised by the story and the story that I have to tell too. So
No, absolutely, absolutely. So everyone, go to Kickstarter. Let me put the link out one more time.
please, please,
Seed Seekers. I put the link
I
in.
just want the backing. You can put $1 on it, guys. That's all I just back it. That's all I really need.
I put the link down below. Go check it out. Martha, before we end this show, I always like to ask the people who are on the show one-on-one, what advice can you give someone who is like, wakes up one day and says, I want to be a comic book writer, I want to be a comic book artist. What advice can you give those people who are wanting to start right now?
I want to say, because I wrote this, okay, and I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this guy says, I give up.
Says I'm just a worthless loser.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing in the world. Everybody thinks that, oh, my art is horrible. I'm not talented. I don't have a story to tell. This is the story in the story itself. There's a page in here where he says to himself, I'm not here to fit. He said, everybody has a place in this world. And you just got to shine. And that's what I want to tell everybody. When you start getting out there and you thinking, you put out a campaign. Let's say you put out a campaign and you want $500 and you don't get anything. And then it just doesn't get funded. I give up. I'm not doing this again. I don't think I have the talent. Don't say that to yourself. You have to keep going. You have to keep shining, because if you just give up, you're just hurting yourself in the long run. You have a story to tell. So I just say, don't give up. I mean, you may not find the audience there, but you'll find an audience somewhere. So that's the biggest thing I want to tell everybody listening, everybody out there.
Boom. That's some good advice. And you know what? I heard this today. Someone's like, what's the scariest thing I can think of is being 80 years old with regrets. And I was like, wow, you don't want to regret, if you have, like you said, if you have a story to tell it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, everyone go to hit up our Kickstarter, Seed Seekers Volume 3. It is funded, even if it's $1, anything helps. Also, if you want to as well, check out Demons Volume 1 Kickstarter. Yes. We're going strong on that.
I backed.
Martha pledged, so you should too. Happily. And once again, if you didn't see the video from today, the 3 sacrifices that you need to make as a comic book creator, check that out today as well. And then tomorrow morning, Justin and we may or may not do a creator hangout. Who knows? But if you're awake at freaking 5 a.m., hit me up and let's get you on the show. So everyone, smash that subscribe button, like and comment, and peace out. I didn't click fast enough. Now peace out.